every record in my database. All 26 rows are visible now. As you probably guessed, a right click will also allow you to choose filter by cell's value. That was even quicker than what I did before. Right clicking again, filter. I could reapply it, refresh it, maybe some new data has come into my database. Or I can remove this, I can right click again, I can choose filter, and I could do this again by cell color, font color, cell icon. Maybe I only wanted to see the negative values that are in red. Of course, that wouldn't make sense in my territory field, but it would in my numerical field. If you want to even get more advanced, you can click on Advanced. Notice it assumes my entire range of cells, and we know this is right? Cell A1 through cell G26, column G, and we've already viewed the bottom of our range is 26. These dollar signs indicate, hey, no matter what, it's going to stay this way. It does say criteria range, though. We haven't yet dealt with a criteria range, so this might be new for you. It's not new to Excel 2007, but you have to set up your own criteria range. What is it that we want to query from our database? You'll need to have labels and then data. The easiest way for us to get labels would be to grab them from here. So let's do last name, territory, and Q1. I'm going to right click on them, choose copy, and I'm going to paste them over here. It doesn't matter where you paste these, they just need to be in their own criteria area. It could be above this range. I could have inserted some empty rows. You do need at least 3 empty rows in your criteria area if it's going to be combined in here with these items. And by 3 empty rows, I mean 2 rows for your criteria. Your labels are required, the data for your criteria, and then you need an empty row so that your Excel spreadsheet understands that it's not part of that range from which you are querying. Last name, let's go ahead and do Wilson. And that's all we'll query by now. I need to go back here and put my cell selector somewhere in my database range. Now I'll go back to Advanced. My list range is the same. My criteria range is this, K6 through M7. And I'll go ahead and filter the list in place. Okay. There's my result. I knew I had 2 Wilsons in my last name field. All right, very good. I could clear my filter, brings everything back. Let's go ahead and copy our data to a new location. Instead of Wilson, let's go ahead and choose South. Just need to put my selector back in that range. I'll choose Advanced. My list range, the same. My criteria range, the same. I want to copy it to another location now. This location does have to be on the same active worksheet, so I can't put it in a new sheet. I also can't put it into a new file. Right here would be fine. Choose OK. OK. Let's check it out. Here it is. I've got now, starting in cell A29, the same column headers, and I have 3 South territory records. Is that accurate? Let's go back up here. We can do a quick little sort here and see that, yep, we only have 3 records from the South. We've got Andrew West, Michael DeLoach, and Carl Murphy. Yep, that's right. So this is a nice way that you can pull records out of a very large database and put them somewhere else. Again, it has to be on that same sheet. I'm going to click Save here just to make sure that our progress isn't lost. I mentioned before that you might have a lot of duplicate records within your spreadsheet. I'm going to make some duplicates. Susan Lake. I'm going to choose Copy. I'm going to choose right-click. That says Insert Copied Cells. I'm going to select these 2. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to choose Copy. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to choose, right-click here, and choose Insert Copied Cell. So now I have 4 Suzanne Lakes. When I press Escape, it'll get rid of those dashed lines. All right, so we don't want duplicates in here, do we? Let's go ahead and make sure we're on the Data tab of the ribbon and choose remove duplicates. To delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. Now, I want to make sure that it knows my data has headers. I could have them all selected. It's going to look everywhere in my spreadsheet. Or if I happen to know just a few areas where I have duplicates, I could do it that way. And I don't want to select all, do I? Because what if I had real data where a few salespeople had sold the same amount? Or I do have a lot of duplicate territories. That's good data. It's fine that I have duplicate north territories. Here is where I want the duplicates to be removed. I'll choose OK. 3 duplicate values were found and removed. 26 unique values remain. OK, let's check it out. Let's sort by last name. Ascending order. We should only have one Susan Lake in there, and we do. It was that easy. I'm going to click Save. Just to remind you, remove duplicates. Which columns should be checked for duplicates? I'll click Cancel there. There are a few different database functions that exist also. What if I wanted to see the maximum value? Well, of course, I could sort by this and see that, whoops, my maximum value, holy moly, that's a huge value. John Wertcheck is an ace seller, isn't he? I don't need this information anymore. So the best way to do this is just to autofill a blank cell around it. It's gone. Good. I'll save that. And we're going to use some functions. So we'll go to the formula area of the ribbon. Notice we don't have database as an item right here. So let's go into the insert function area. And we could do a search for a function. Notice again we don't have database, so I'll choose all. And I'll scroll down to the D area. Once you feel comfortable with these formulas, you don't have to use this insert function wizard. You can simply type in the formula that you want. I want D max because I'd like to see the largest number in a field of records in the database that matches my conditions. This shows you what the conditions are. D max, within the parentheses, are the parameters that you're using as criteria. The database, the field, and then what exactly is it that I'm looking for. I'll go ahead and choose OK, and it pops me into the function arguments. My database. When I click this, I get to choose my database, and I want it to be all of this information here. This is a good reason why you should name your ranges, which we'll get into in a later nugget, because I didn't have to click and drag. If I had it named, I could have just simply typed in the name of my range of cells. What field? Well, let's look for the maximum in this Q4 field. It could be G1, or I could really type Q4 in there within quotes. Notice it's figured that out on its own. What's my criteria? My criteria is this range of cells. I'm looking for the maximum value in here. Click that. I'm looking OK. Notice it does tell you criteria is the range of cells that contains the condition you specify. My condition is maximum. Go and choose OK. Maximum, $33,000. Of course, I can go to Home. I can give it this dollar value so it looks like real data. And I should probably call this maximum so that I know what this 33,000 means. Do you think that's accurate? You think that's true? Let's test it out. We could do a couple things. We could go back and we could sort by descending order, and we see that. We can also do something that's even quicker than this. We can select, actually we can select the whole column. Notice it tells us the average of everything that's selected, the count, the sum of everything that's selected. If I right-click down here, I could also choose that I want to see the maximum, which is 33,000. If I click here just to close that, I now have added maximum to my status bar. And whenever I select an item, it'll tell me the maximum value of that range that I have selected. 98,000, 98,000. All right, so There's a couple ways that you can find the maximum. I showed you the real quick on-the-fly easy way to do it, but if it's something that you need to collect for later so that you're able to use that again and maybe in a couple different spreadsheets, you can certainly do that. When I double click on it, it shows me the formula right here in the spreadsheet. I'm going to do this so you can see that label, but it also shows it to me on that title bar there. Now I could also do this to find the minimum value. Just so you get practice again with this function wizard, I will do it that way, though of course I could just copy this formula and modify it for the minimum. But we'll go ahead and do the insert function. We've got all. We'll look for D minimum. Okay. What database am I using? Well, let's go ahead and use this exact same database as before. Alrighty. What field? Oh, what the heck. Let's do Q4 again. What criteria? That would be the range in which I'm looking for that minimum value. Alright, looking good. Okay. So my minimum is 5,321. Oops. Which is correct, as you probably imagined. Now, if I want to just find the average, I can just type it in here. Point out that it's equal sign. Whenever you have a formula, you have to start it with an equal sign. It's D average, and I didn't have to capitalize these letters if I didn't want to. Once I get started, it tells me that this is the right formula. When I put the quote in there, it actually is going to show me the syntax. Isn't that nice? If I were to click on D average, it would launch help for me. I can't click on database here, but it's telling me, well, you need to tell me the database, because if I roll over field or criteria, it doesn't highlight or do anything. Do you remember what my database is? It's A1 through G, I think 26. We can be over, it's okay. With the syntax, I do a comma. I'm going to do my field as Q4 again, comma, and my criteria is cell G1 through, I believe, would be G26, right? Because that's the bottom range. I'm looking for the last column there. I need to finish this off with a closing parenthesis. I'll press enter, and there it is. It worked. I'm going to put a dollar sign there just to be pretty. Let's make sure it worked. I'm going to select this entire range of cells. The average says 17,154. This average says 17,154. Hopefully you feel a lot more comfortable with sorting, with filtering, extracting data based on criteria, and how you can even use the text to columns and the remove duplicates tool to make sure that your data has integrity and that it is intact. Overall, what we took a look at here was sorting. We now have more than 3 sort criteria available to us, or sort columns. Filtering, either by using that auto filter item or going into advanced filtering. Removing duplicates, breaking apart one column into multiple columns, and then some of the most basic data functions, dmax, dmin, and daverage. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.